It's my humble request to the parent, along with my teaching methods in the gradual category of previous classes. Myself, Animesh Kumar Srivastav from Lucknow Public School, Lakhimpur Kheri branch, as in previous year, is to provide online support with your knowledge material for better computer education in your ward. Although in this subject matter, I have tried to compile other accessories together. However, if there is any possibility of any error, then I apologize. Dear student, till now you all have been following me on all the various aspects related to the computer education. But now special attention is required to develop this bottomless sea of knowledge. The computer of today are vastly different in appearance and performance as compared to the computers of earlier days. But where did this technology come from and where is it heading? To fully understand the impact of computers on today's world and the promises they hold for the future, it is important to understand the evolution of computers. Dear student, today almost of us in the world make use of computer in one way or the other. It finds application in various fields of engineering, medicine, commercial research and others. Not only in these sophisticated areas, but also in our daily lives, computers have become indispensable. They are present everywhere. In all the day ICs that we use daily like cars, games, washing machines, microwave ovens, etc. And in day to day computation like banking, reservations, electronic mails, internet and many more. The word computer is derived from the word compute. It's COMPUTE, compute. Compute means to calculate something. The computer was originally defined as a super fast calculator. It had the capacity to solve complex arithmetic and scientific problems at a very high speed. But nowadays, in addition to handling complex arithmetic computations, computers perform many other tasks like accepting, sorting, selecting, moving, comparing various types of information. They also perform arithmetic and logical operations on alphabetic, numeric and other types of information. This information provided by the user to computer is called data. I repeat my statement. The information provided by the user to the computer is called data. The information is one form which is presented to the computer is the input information or called input data. I repeat this statement. The information one form which is presented to the computer is the input information or input data. The topics are as follows for the achievements of the knowledge of the computers, for the evolutions of the computers as it is. Number 1, definition of computer. Number 2, earliest computers. Number 3, computer history. Number 4, computers generations. Now I am going to explain the definition of computers. Computer is a programmable machine. Computer is a machine that manipulates data according to a list of instructions. These instructions given by this users means the instructions in the form of commands. When executed by the user, it comes an output in the form of result that we see on the monitor. Computer is any device which aids humans in performing various kinds of computation or calculations. The three principal characteristics of the computers are: number one, it responds to a specific set of instructions in a well-defined manner. Number two, it can execute a pre-recorded list of instructions. Number three, it can quickly store and retrieve large amount of data. The earliest computers, few points I am going to explain. Dear children, please listen carefully. Originally, calculations were computed by humans whose job titles was computers. These human computers were typically engaged in the calculation of a mathematical expressions. The calculations of this period were specialized and expensive, requiring years of trainings in mathematics. The first use of the computer was recorded in the year 1613, referring to a person who carried out calculations or computation, and the word continued to be used in that sense until the middle of the 20th century. Now, dear children, one by one I am going to explain about the various kinds of devices time to time when they are invented. In the series of the inventions, number first has take place tally sticks. A tally stick was an ancient memory aid device to record and document numbers, quantities, or even messages. Number two, abacus. An abacus is a mechanical device used to aid an individual in performing mathematical calculations. The abacus was invented in Babylonia in 2400 BC. Dear children, here BC refers to before Christ. The abacus in the form we are most familiar with was first used in China in around 500 BC. It is used to perform basic arithmetic operations. The next device is Napier's bones. It is invented by John Napier in the year 1614. Allowed the operator to multiply, divide, and calculate square and cube roots by moving the rods around and placing them in specially constructed boards. Now, as the time has passed, the new device takes place. The slide rule. It was invented by William Oughtred in the year 1622. It was based on Napier's ideas about logarithms. It was broadly used as primary basis for the multiplication, for finding divisions, for roots, for logarithms, and for trigonometry. Afterwards, the new device was Pascaline. The Pascaline was invented by Blaise Pascal in the year 1642. It was its limitation to addition and subtraction. It was too expensive. The next device is stepped reckoner. It was invented by Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz in the year 1672. The machine that was able to add, subtract, multiply, and divide automatically. Now the next device was Jacquard loom. The Jacquard loom was a mechanical loom invented by Joseph Mary Jacquard in the year 1881. It was an automatic loom controlled by punched cards. Next device is arithmometer, a mechanical calculator invented by Thomas Decomer in the year 1820. The first reliable, useful and commercially successful calculating machine it was. The machine could perform the four basic mathematical functions. The first mass produced calculating machine, that was arithmometer. Difference engine and analytical engine. It is an automatic mechanical calculator designed to tabulate polynomial functions, invented by Charles Babbage in 1822 and 1834. It was the first mechanical computers. The first computer programmer. In the year 1840, Augusta Ada Byron, few publications has written her name, Augusta Ada Lovelace, but both names are same. Augusta Ada Byron, she has suggested to Charles Babbage that he can use the binary number systems with the help of programmings. She writes program for the analytical engine, and that particular programs were used on that time for the production of the analytical engine as in programming. Schusen calculation engine. It was invented by Per George Schuss in the year 1843. It was based on Charles Babbage's difference engine. It was also called the first printing calculator. The next is tabulating machine. The tabulating machine was invented by Hermann Hollerith in the year 1890. It was to assist in summarizing information and accounting purpose. The next is Howard Mark First. It was also known as IBM Automatic Sequence Controlled Calculator, ASCC. It was invented by Howard H. Aiken in the year 1943. It was also called the first electromechanical computer. Next device is Z1. It was considered as the first programmable computer. Dear kids, it was controlled by the programming skills first time. It was created by Konrad Zuse in Germany from the year 1936 to 1938. To program the Z1 required that the user insert punch tape into a punch tape reader, and all output was also generated through punch tape. In the series of the inventions, the next device goes to Atanasoff Berry computers, refers to the short abbreviation ABC, whereas A stands for Atanasoff, B stands for Berry, C stands for computer. It was the first electronic digital computing device invented by Professor John Atanasoff and graduate student Clifford Berry at Iowa State University. It was created between the year 1939 and 1942. The next device is ENIAC, ENIAC, whereas E stands for electronic, N stands for numerical, I stands for integrator, A stands for and, C stands for computer, so that its full form makes electronic, numerical, integrator and computer. It was the first electronic general purpose computer. When the invention of ENIAC was developed, it was totally completed in the year 1946. It was developed by John Presper Eckert and John W. Mauchly. The next device is UNIVAC First. The UNIVAC First refers to Universal Automatic Computer First. It was the first commercial computer designed by J. Presper Eckert and John Mauchly. The next device is EDVAC. EDVAC stands for Electronic Discrete Variable Automatic Computer. It was the fastest stored program computer. It was designed by von Neumann in the year 1952. It has a memory to hold both type of storage like program as well as data. The first portable computer, Osborne First. It was considered the first portable computer. In the word portable, meaning to say we can take away easily from one place to another. Hence, it was considered as the portable computer. It was released in the year 1981 by the Osborne Computer Corporation. The first computer company. The first computer company was Electronic Controls Company. It was founded in 1949 by J. Presper Eckert and John Mauchly. Now, the timeline for the different types of generations of computers are as follows. There are 5 generations of computers. First generation, the time between 1946 to 1958. The second generation, the time between 1959 to 1964. Third generation, the time between 1965 to 1970. Fourth generation, the time between 1971 to today. Fifth generation, from today to the future. Dear children, now it's time to explain in brief about the various types of generations of computers. In this series, I am taking the first generation. The first generation computers were used vacuum tubes as the main component or for circuitry and magnetic drums for the storage or as in memory, and were often enormous, taking up entire rooms. They were very expensive to operate, and in addition to using a great deal of electricity, generated a lot of heat, which was often the cause of malfunctions. Dear children, it was the only reason to change its generation. The first generation computers relied on machine's language, the lowest level programming languages understood by computers to perform operations, and they could only solve one problem at a time. Input was based on punched cards and paper tapes, and output was displayed on printouts. Dear children, now the second generation. The transistor replaced vacuum tubes as ushered in the second generation of computers. One transistor replaced the equivalent of 40 vacuum tubes, allowing computers to become smaller, faster, cheaper, more energy efficient and more reliable. Still generated a great deal of heat that can damage the computer. Second generation computers moved from crypted binary machine language to symbolic or assembly languages, which allowed programmers to specify instructions in words. Second generation computers still relied on punched cards or input and printouts for outputs. These were also the first computers that stored their instructions in their memory, which moved from a magnetic drum to magnetic core technology. Dear children, now taking the next generation, that is the third generation. The development of the integrated circuits as the main component was the hallmark of the third generation of computers. Transistors were miniaturized and placed on silicon chips called semiconductors, which drastically increased the speed and efficiency of computers. They were much smaller and cheaper as compared to the second generation of computers. It could carry out instructions in billions of seconds. The users interacted the third generation computers through keyboards and monitors and interfaced with an operating system, which allowed the device to run many different applications at one time with a central program that monitored the memory. Computers for the first time became accessible to a mass audience because they were smaller and cheaper than their predecessors. Their predecessor means the earlier computers from this generations. Now dear kids, now it's time to explain about the fourth generation. The microprocessors brought the fourth generation of computers as thousands of integrated circuits were built onto a single silicon chip. As these small computers became more powerful as compared to the earlier one, they could be linked together to form networks, which eventually led to the development of the internet. Fourth generation computers also saw the development of GUI. GUI, graphically users interface. The mouse and the handheld devices were also used first time in this generation. Dear kids, now it's time to explain the last, that is fifth generation computers. The fifth generation computers will be based on the artificial intelligence, as short abbreviation AI. It is still in the development. The use of parallel processing and superconductors is helping to make artificial intelligence a reality. The goal is to develop the devices that respond to natural languages input and are capable of learning and self-organization. There are some applications such as voice recognition that are being used today.